In this video, I will be discussing with you positive and negative correlations as well as the line of best fit and correlation coefficient. So first and foremost, in order for a correlation to be a positive correlation, it needs to be increasing from left to right. To be a negative correlation, it is going to be decreasing left to right. And if there is no correlation, it means the data is too scattered and sporadic that there really is no general trend. And we can't approximate it by a nice line of best fit. So I'm going to go ahead and tackle this first example. We have a couple of steps. We first want to graph our data points. Graph our data. So I'm going to go ahead and take a second to do that. So 10, 15, 10, 15, there's our first point, 10, 25, 15, 17, so this one's going to be approximate. Alright, so that's going to be just about below half. Alright, 17, 20, so that's 17, 20, right about there. Okay, so here are those ones, 20, 15, 25, 12, 30, 11, and 35, 5, and 35, 10. Alright, so you can see that not all of the points lie exactly on one line. However, there is kind of a general trend. So we do know that it is going to be a negative correlation. Because we can draw a line of best fit. So here, to draw a line to approximate the data trend. Alright, so it may not be exact. Your goal, I'll put goal, even amount of points on either side. So that means above or below. So you want about the same amount of points above and below the line. So if I draw that, you're just approximating the data. Not everybody will get the same exact answer. Alright, as it is approximate. And 3. Pick 2 points. Pick 2 approximate points. On the line. So you do not have to pick your original data points. For example, this one lies above the line, this is above, this one's below and below. I want to pick 2 data points that approximate this line. So if I were to pick some nice ones, 10, 20, that looks like a really nice point. So I want to pick 10, 20. Alright, and I'm looking for a nice intersection here at 30, 10. 30, 10. That's another great point. So then, step 4 is find the line using point slope. If you are able to draw a pretty good line of best fit, using a ruler, so for example on the screen I have a ruler right here, you could approximate your y-intercept. If I were to keep drawing my line here, or you can just use 2 points. So if you were to find your y-intercept, then you would be able to find your slope and then plug that directly into y equals mx plus b. But here I'm going to go about it the long way, which really isn't that bad. it will just be a couple of more additional steps. Alright, so first you need to find your slope, and we find our slope by y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1 using my 2 points. So I'll go ahead and say 10 minus 20 over 30 minus 10. That becomes a negative 10 over 20, which is negative 1/2. Alright, so now I have a slope, and I'll go ahead and use this point. Y minus 20 from y minus y1 equals m times x minus x1. That is our point slope formula. And plugging in negative 1/2 for my slope with x minus 10. So then I just need to use my distributive property here, and I get y minus 20 is equal to negative 1/2 x plus 10 divided by 2, so that's negative 1/2 times negative 10. That turns into a positive 5. And then my last step is to add 20 to both sides for my final solution to be y equals negative 1/2 x plus 25. Alright, and that is the equation for my line of best fit. So your steps are to the right, and I will cover one more idea here, and that is my correlation coefficient. So R equals, R stands for correlation coefficient. Since I have a good number of data points that lie very close to the line, and the data is pretty close, I'm going to go ahead and say that my correlation coefficient is going to be closer to negative 1 than it is to negative 1/2, and it's negative because it is a negative correlation. Alright, if it was negative 1/2, that means you would have points that are a little bit further from the line and are starting to become a little bit more sporadic. Alright, so please feel free to see me before school or email me with questions.